Like, brief story, and then we'll move on. Like what you were saying, because I kind of want to point out like the feeling that you get after it, and best way is by sharing experience. So, like last time when we did some group breath work. In the beginning, you maybe sit in a circle, and especially for the new people that are not very used to it, there's some some tension and some like what's going to happen, and some general anxiety or just not fully freeness that comes for a lot of people with meeting someone new, and so then it's like, all right, do the breath work. Hour later. You come and you sit, and you're all sitting in a circle, and you're listening to some kind of a trippy music as you're going through this breathwork experience. And the breathing, by the way, is very simple. Yeah. Can you just show them?
Certainly. It's just what we call a deep connected oral breath. So it's a breath in and a breath out without a pause in between them. So it's
And are you breathing into your belly or into your chest?
Initially, it's just to get breath going. If the breath is predominantly in the chest, then we try and take the breath into the belly. If the breath is into the belly, we try and take it into the chest. It's trying to create freedom in the breathing system, in the respiration system, in the lungs. And a lot of the reason why the breath is not free at first is because the muscles become so locked because of the fear, because of the story. And so as we start to breathe, the muscles around the rib cage start to release a little, more breath can come in, and then there starts to be this feeling of freedom. And it's simply oxygenating the body on one level. And as the body becomes oxygenated, as we breathe out, it's releasing toxins on one level, but there's so many other levels to it.
Right. Right. And so that's the kind of breathing that you're doing, and you're not doing that 5 times or 10 times. You're doing that the whole time for an hour long, pretty much. Yeah. And so stuff starts to happen, and, you go into outer space or whatever you do, or, it's a wide variety of experience that you could have during the process of going through that. But point I'm trying to make is at the end of that, and this just happened to be a group session. You can do this one-on-one as well. We kind of all gathered to sit in a circle, and now everyone was just like very lovingly looking at each other, and everyone's kind of zoned out but connected. I'd say that's the main word. And all the anxiety and all the tension is out of the room, and there's just a totally different energy, a totally different vibe in that room. Now, I think you still want to say something, or we'll leave it here. Breath work, check it out. All right, more to come. So let's shift this to, all right. So you've been bullied, and you've gone through that experience, and it's been a thing in your life, and then you found all these healing modalities, and you moved through that. And you alluded to it earlier. All right, now I'm just feeling free. I'm now just feeling comfortable. Now I'm just feeling at ease, and I can go where I want, and I look forward to meeting people, and I enjoy spending time with them. And why do you think that is the case for you right now?
Why do I think?
Yeah, why do you think you feel so free socially now? Might be a big question.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
This is not scripted,
So, on one level, I've released the limiting belief systems that I had about myself. Yeah. I now believe and this is in no way full of arrogance or pride or anything. I now believe I'm a powerful being. I now believe I'm strong enough to protect myself in whatever the world puts towards me. I actually don't even perceive that the world's got threat in it anymore. The world's a beautiful place, and all of our external experiences are tinted by the glasses that we view life through. And my view of life now is one where someone and I live in Ubud in Bali, which makes it easier to have this belief system, but every single stranger I see down the street, if I look in them in the eye and smile at them, because my heart's open, they reflect that. Yep. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited about my day. I don't worry about, oh, I've got to go to work or something. And I've got a job now, so... and yeah, the biggest way I can describe it is I have the experience of that childlike quality of being playful and excited, but in an adult's body when there's no adult telling me I can't. So anything I want to do, I can do. And that feels incredible to believe that. And I never would have thought I could have been the person I am now when I was in my 20s. I would have just given everything I own to be as free as I am now, and loving and caring and connected. And that's our birthright. That's our natural state of being. It's just that we live in the worlds that we've constructed in a very human way, which are actually very dehumanizing, and they disconnect us from each other. The media is full of stories that make us fear strangers, and we're worried about money and economic crisis, and all of that has an impact on us. And so what I'd say to people is, sit down and see if you can write out your most limiting beliefs about your most negative things about yourself. And then write out what the opposite of that is. And start making that your daily belief about yourself. Something as simple as that. Sebastian does a type of therapy called... What's tapping? EFT. Freedom techniques. Yeah, and that's such a shortcut way of seeing and reprogramming your belief systems in your nervous system. And the implications and the effects on one's life are dramatic. And you out there, if you're listening to this, I sincerely hope you've stumbled across it and don't have any social anxiety whatsoever. But if you do, what I'd say to you is take a chance, take a risk, buy into your own healing, and have a read of what therapies Sebastian does or what therapies are out there. And if something resonates with you, be brave and take a chance, because it might just be the beginning of your transformation to experience the life that you actually want to lead. And because I can say that with absolute belief, because that's been my journey, and I know it has been yours too.
Yeah, nice. Reason why I asked that question as well is like, when I was having, intense social anxiety, the whole idea, just like you related to before, the whole idea that you can actually be free and actually look forward to connecting with people, and a stranger isn't this big scary hurdle that you have to overcome anymore. It's just another person that you could meet. But that just hearing about the kind of beliefs that you can have and what is actually pretty normal, that can be inspiring. So that's why I'm going to drill further on this. So I did have a couple of questions prepared. So let me just see. How do you deal with disapproval? People with social anxiety, that's typically a big thing. Worry about rejection, disapproval, being criticized, being made fun of, that kind of stuff. How do you see that now? How do you deal with it?
Big smile on my face. Complete permission for that person to have their own experience, to have their own belief system. Also believing that if I listen, I can learn something from them, because I've only got my perspective. Their perspective may be valid. And at the same time, I don't know, how do I deal with disapproval? I allow it to be there. It doesn't lodge itself in my body. I check in with myself. I'm my own barometer now. One of the most interesting people that's not alive anymore that I've read a lot from is Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti talks about society, and he says society is just a construct of our own mind. It's an amalgamation of these belief systems that creates some imaginary external entity that's judging us. It's ourselves judging ourselves. If you're really in touch with yourself and know that you're living in alignment with your values, then people can be disapproving all the time, and that's fine. It's okay, you know. I don't seek the approval of the whole world. I seek the approval of this world, and this world, the world of my friends, you know, and we get that organically. And disapproval is fine, great.
And if you listen to what Cyrus is saying, you can kind of hear, hey, I'm okay with me more than that I worry about other people not being okay with me. You know, it's a level of self-acceptance that says, hey, I'm all right. Not perfect, you know. I have my flaws. But I'm all right. And other people, I give them permission to have their opinion.
I would actually
it's all right.
In a different way, Sebastian. I don't actually say I am perfectly human. And being perfectly human means having all these weird traits and differences. And the moment we start to talk with other humans authentically from the heart, like if you could possibly, when you're suffering from social anxiety, just turn around to the person next to you and say, do you know what? Right now I feel super disconnected. I can't breathe very well. I'm feeling disconnected from you and from the world, and my body feels stiff, and you're going to start feeling the compassion of the human being, you know? And
depending on the place where you're at.
I would say yes, but I would also say no. I would also say if the actual scene has been set so that you're both present in that moment, then as soon as you say that, there's going to be a feeling of connection, because I think most people can empathise with all of the feeling unloved or feeling fearful or whatever. We've all been there once, or know that that's a possibility, and that brings us connection too. And whatever it is you're suffering from, I won't word it the way I was going to say. It's not real. I know the experience is real because I experienced it myself, but it's a byproduct of a certain belief system that's very relative, and it can be overridden with another belief system that's far more serving to the holistic experience of being a happy human being. And that's all it is. We came into this world as a blank sheet, and through certain experiences, some of us never experienced trauma and were free of most things. Some of us experienced traumatic situations and built these belief systems that are not real. You're not, whatever it is you believe, unlovable, ugly, unattractive, whatever, not funny. You're none of those things unless you let the programs run.
Right.
And in some ways, it's our darkness that leads us towards our light. So your social anxiety is where you should put your attention, and start to see if you can find out what the belief systems you have about yourself are. And I think that's going to be the beginning of a journey, you know, and find somebody to work with. A word from our sponsor. And
pay later. Yeah.
And invest in your own liberation, invest in your own transformation and your own freedom. You know, why do we earn money? To make us happy. Find happiness for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think what you were intending to say, or what you were saying with social anxiety is social anxiety is the darkness to which we find our light. Meaning, correct me if I'm wrong, is social anxiety is such a painful experience that it forces you to look into yourself, that it forces you to look at the problems that you're dealing with, because it's no way to actually live your life. You're so limited, you're so restricted, and that darkness forces you to do the work in order to get to the light. Yeah.
And once you start on the journey, the most difficult thing with anything is to start. Once you start, you don't receive the benefits in the future. They happen in the here and now.
Right.
And that creates the momentum, the enthusiasm, the commitment to your own healing.
Right.
And once you've started, it's a path you can't turn back
There's
from.
no way back.
And the beautiful thing about it is that each step you take along the path, you get to taste the fruits of your efforts and the rewards of your journey right now.
Right. And it's definitely an up and down journey, in the sense that it's not only, bliss and rainbows and butterflies and all that stuff. There will be up and downs on the journey, but once you once you actually start to make changes, once you take that first step, things are going to be different, because now you feel different and things have shifted for you. And now you know that things can shift for you. And so now you become more committed. So the scariest thing, like you said, indeed, is actually getting started, actually doing something, actually making the choice, the decision that, hey, this is enough. I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to go to Google and look up breath work, or I'm going to reach out, or I'm going to, do some tapping or whatever. Actually making the decision to get going. That's what requires the most effort. It's like that analogy that you sometimes hear. It takes a lot to get a big train going. It uses most of its force to actually go from zero to full, to get going. That takes the most energy. Or a rocket that takes off. It uses most of its fuel to get off the ground and get into, however you call that, outer space. Orbit, yeah, exactly. But once you get going, now you've got momentum, and now you're on the road. Now you're on the journey. Now you're on the path. And now things get better and better and better over time. Yeah. So yeah, and what you said about the beliefs, yeah, the beliefs are the lenses through which you experience the world, through which you perceive and look at the world. So when you're in a social situation and you're feeling anxiety, you are, you're looking through the world and you're perceiving threats. So you're perceiving, I might get rejected, I'm not good enough, they're better than me, that kind of stuff. And these beliefs, as you say, they're not real, but even though you might know that, just talking to yourself is not going to change it, but it feels true. That's the problem. Like it feels true that you're not good enough, even though it doesn't make sense. It feels true that you're different and that there's something wrong with you and that people don't like you and that kind of stuff. It feels true, and that's the problem. And with these modalities that we've been talking about, tapping, breath work, and so on, you get rid of the feeling of the belief being true, and then it's just a thought, and then it doesn't affect you anymore, and then that's where you get freedom. So I think that's our inspiration moment of the day. Did you want to add something to it, or should I launch next questions? Yeah, all right. I love this question, but I think I already know the answer. How do you feel about looking foolish or making a dumbass out of yourself?
Quite excited. It's kind of...
What do you mean? It's my ongoing experience.
Yeah, it's like... As crazy as it may sound, I'm way more of a stupid kid as an adult than I ever was as a kid. Yeah, how do I feel about making a dumbass of myself? It's not, whatever that word carries in a negative way, my experience of being a dumbass doesn't carry that. My experience of being a dumbass carries only the positivity that's attached to that word. It's the best way I can describe it. I give permission through my actions for other people to be free, is what I've been told most about being that I am, from clients or friends or whatever. And for me, that's such a gift to be able to offer back to people who are not in that space yet. That I was once, you, however anxious and closed off and disconnected you feel, and hello, it's me now. And yeah, I can not think of that many things that would make me feel socially uncomfortable now. And that doesn't mean I don't feel social anxiety occasionally, but it's not a situation. It's like it comes up, I recognize it in a short space of time, close my eyes, come back in, take a few breaths, go through a few processes, might tap myself a little bit or something else, and then I'm present again. And that's what it is. Social anxiety is not being present. You're caught in a story. Yeah. Us human beings most often are caught in a story, so it's not like I've become the Buddha that's ever present, omnipresent. It's just that the story that's running when I'm not present is, hey, it's a big playground out there and let's go and have some fun.
Brilliant. How do you deal with awkwardness?
What's awkwardness? Talk about it. Like,
bring it up.
Yeah.
Elephant in the room.
Yeah, lovely. It's like I can talk about this because this weekend I sat with a girl that was like I was just finding myself hypnotized by her, and something came up. I was like, well, I'm feeling super awkward. And I just put my hand on her leg and I went, can I share something with you? And she was like, yeah, what? I went, God, I feel a little bit like a schoolboy right now. And she's like, why? I went, well, my kind of heart's beating a little bit faster and my leg's tapping, and I think it's because I'm feeling a little bit awkward around you, because I think I might be attracted to you. And boom, this explosion of joy, and this little girl lit up in front of me, or this beautiful woman, but I saw this just little girl jump out, and she was awkward now, actually, but it was like two awkward beings that were all right with our awkwardness. I had to kind of say, you know, when I caught her disconnecting, say, hi, it's still me again. Yeah. How does that make you feel? You know? And something that's come alongside this journey has come the ability to talk about real things. How am I feeling right now? How are you feeling right now? Is there anything you're curious about? Ask me a question, you know? And the quality of my interactions with people is so beautiful, because it's not running from an old program. Hi, where are you from? Yeah, really? What'd you do? Oh, okay, yeah. You know, it's two human beings being here, present right now in this present moment, with whatever comes up, and that's okay. Whatever comes up is okay.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Like this lead-in question with awkwardness, I asked a couple other people as well that I interviewed on the podcast, and because when you're experiencing anxiety, that's like the worst, you know. You're like, awkwardness, oh my God, and then the attention is on me and it's awkward, and there are all sorts of judgments about awkward, like, oh, it's my fault and it should never be awkward, and you know, this social perfectionism, and certain emotions are not okay. And I speak from so much experience, trust me. Like, you know, it's not okay to be embarrassed, it's not okay to feel anxious. There's so much judgment about ourselves for experiencing anxiety, like what you said, you know, oh, I have a bit of a social anxiety come up, all right, I'll put some attention on it. But the fact that you said, all right, you know, let me go internally and have a look at what's going on here, but you're not rejecting the feeling of anxiety. And this is easier said than done, you know, but there is work you can do that gets you to the place where you're not judging the anxiety, where you don't have any additional feelings about the anxiety, where it's just like, oh, anxiety comes up, all right, well, I'm still okay even though I experience anxiety, and you know, I don't feel ashamed about it. I don't feel I don't hate myself for it. I'm not, you know, all of that kind of extra stuff, which puts a lid on the problem of anxiety, and which makes it stay around for a longer period of time. Long-winded way of saying you're okay with the emotion that comes up, and you know, that takes away a lot of the awkwardness.
Can I say something about that, actually? A really good tool that you could use now is when you're feeling anxious, rather than labeling it anxiety, start to try and label the actual sensation you're feeling. So rather than saying I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling like pressure in my chest, I'm feeling an inability to breathe here, I'm feeling pain there, I'm feeling numb here, whatever it is for you, rather than calling it anxiety, which is the story, and you're attached to a story, it's starting to create space from that story. Okay, I am feeling anxious right now. My throat feels really closed up. Okay, my throat feels really closed up. What can I do? Let me try and breathe into my throat a little bit. Oh, that's moving now. That feeling's moving down there. And that in itself will give you a beginning tool to start moving away from a belief system, which is, when I'm in these situations I'm anxious, to being present in what is. And our social anxiety is definitely not being present. You're caught in a story, you know, and the way back from not being present is manyfold, and one of the things is to actually take yourself into your body and out of your mind, and start to notice those senses and to speak them to yourself, to recognize them, and then it gives you a tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we could talk on for hours and hours, but I'm just gonna see. All right, let's do a couple more questions. So, making friends. So let's move this to you know, the social realm. So let's keep it nice and broad. How do friendships get formed? How do you experience it happening for you?
So I guess friendships get formed where we have some common things between us that can create a feeling of a bonding, like we're the same tribe, we're the same family, whatever the word is, we're the same. And so friendships get formed in that way, where we recognise something. I mean, friendship gets formed through attraction, if it's that kind of thing, but in a purely platonic way, it's about finding some common ground, some common interests. That's why we talk to people. Oh, yeah, you're into football, I'm into football too. You into football? Yeah, me too. Straight away, you get that. Look at that. Your face lit up. Okay. And so friendships get formed by finding that common ground. And how do I experience it happening for me?
In the sense of, all right, so, we met playing Frisbee, right? Playing Ultimate Frisbee. New sport for me last year. Good fun. Check it out. It's a good way to meet people as well. Wherever you are, if you're, find a near big city and type in Ultimate Frisbee. If you're into sports, a great way. Very nice community of people. Good way to meet new people. Anyway, so that's how we initially met. And from there, we connected and we're like, let's hang out, or I don't even exactly remember what happened, but yeah, okay. But how does it go from there, and how do things turn into a friendship? Because a lot of people with social anxiety are struggling with this, and it's like, well, how do I take things to the next level? I meet someone there, and I go there every week, and it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah. So it's what we've been talking about a few minutes ago. Finding a conversation, starting up that's about what's happening right now. And how do friendships get formed? It's when we've got common ground. What happens as we start to be freer was that we realise that all the labels we put on ourselves separate ourselves from other people. And I'm this and they're that, so we're not going to connect. I'm whatever and you're whatever else. I'm a football fan from one country, you're a football fan from the other country, we're rivals, but the experience of having a connection with somebody, for me, it happens when we become both aware that we're in this present moment and that there's something absolutely that we both have a similar belief in. And the more you strip away your social anxiety, the broader that becomes. So let's say in the beginning we meet and we both got social anxiety. Thank God. I'm not alone. Yeah. And that's what friendship is that, okay, I'm not alone in this world. And the more you can strip away the labels that separate you, the more that you access friendships more quickly and easily. And I would almost like now, I understand it totally. I used to think I'd never going to have any friends. I had 2 friends and they were 2 people from school, and they were my friends because they both lived in my street and our parents were friends. And so they were my friends by default, not by choice. And when we were at school, they were my friends from a distance, and now it's like every interaction I have, I feel like at the end of it, it's like, do you know what? See you later. And I mean, like, I hope to see you later. There's something that we have in common together. And it is that we're alive and we're doing our best in this human experience, or it is that we both got social anxiety or something. But take a chance, just say something unusual to somebody. Be real about what's happening for you. We all want to be real, we all want to get away from the superficiality of life and get beneath the surface. And, why do people come together as lovers and get married? It's because they found some connection in there that feels precious. I'm not a believer that that's going to happen with just one person. I'm a believer that that can happen with pretty much everybody you meet. If your heart's open, if you're connected in the present moment with what's going on. I know heart's open sounds rubbish, so let's not talk about that. But if you're able to convey to somebody right here, right now, something that brings them out of the superficiality of their experience to something that's real, I find that's an incredibly bonding thing to have with somebody.
Lovely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's such a good feeling when that happens. It's like, nice. I get along with you. This is good. I like it. And how do you then I really have to pull this out of you because it's so natural for you. But how do you then take things to the next level? It's like, hey, I'll give you one suggestion. Hey, let's go for lunch. Right? It's that easy. But any other things you want to add on to that? And
well, like if you live in a city where you've had a contact with somebody and that feels unusual for you and you want to hold on to that, just say it. Or if it's too much to ask for their number, offer your phone number. Can we see each other again? Or let's go to football. Or do you come, maybe we'll see each other in this place again. It's like making an offer. Right. Hi, do you want to be my friend? I reckon saying that to somebody is going to make them go, yeah. And I reckon as an adult, if you say that to someone, you go up at the end of it, I really like you. Do you want to be my friend? I reckon you say it with a smile on your face and it's going to bring out a little child in them, isn't it? We all want to be thought of as somebody that somebody wants to have as a friend.
Yeah, it's flattering if someone wants to be your friend, unless the person, unless you're not really digging the other person, then maybe not. But typically, it's flattering if someone wants to be your friend. Yeah.
I would also say, like with some forms of social anxiety, maybe it's worth looking at your relationships and making sure they are serving your liberation from that, and they're not keeping you in that. Right. So if you have dysfunctional relationships, if you can be brave enough to talk with the person, ask them that can they sit down with you and talk about it if that's possible for you, and if it's not, just see if you can start to be strong enough to let go of those relationships, because then space will be created for something else to come into that vacuum. And if what your relationship is something that's causing you anxiety, then it's not serving you in any way. A lot of strength.
Yep. And then maybe starting a new path first, finding some new outlets, starting salsa dancing or going to ultimate frisbee or what it is.
Way to do it. To join a club or an organisation or an interest, or find a group that's for people that have got social anxiety. I bet if you live in a city, there's probably one now, isn't there? Go and find a lot of other people that have got social anxiety and feel like you're not alone, and see how that transforms you.
I'll leave that one alone. Anyway, let me see a couple more questions. If you had to build a social life from scratch, how would you go about it? Never happened, has it?
Build a social... Well, actually, strange enough, it has on numerous occasions, because I've lived in like 13 countries. So, how do I...
If you had to, say you go to a new country, right? Yeah. Then how...
Oh yeah, how do I build a social...
From scratch. What would you do?
Well, find an interest I've got and find a football club, or you just said it, those kind of things. I'll find a place where people have got common interests to the one I've got. I don't do well in bars or clubs, which is where we, on some level, believe that's where we need to be. They're even super open people, they're pretty difficult environments unless you're there with your tribe, your clan, your mates. But if the idea is to go and find new people, for me the best way of doing that is to look at all the interests I've got, and you might find some of the interests that you've got that you'd love to do, you don't do. So that's going to open your life up in a dual way. You're going to actually get something that you love doing and put yourself in a situation with other people who love doing that. It gives you a hugely strong foundation to build some friendship on.
Right. And there's built-in conversation in doing something that you both like doing. And if you go a bunch of times, maybe the first time you're not that comfortable, maybe the second time you're a little bit more comfortable. If you go a bunch of times and you start doing these processes, the tapping, the breath work, other things that we've been talking about, you're becoming more comfortable. And by the sheer act of going and having that, having the same experience over and over, you're becoming more familiar with the experience. Say it's ultimate frisbee, you're becoming more familiar with the experience, and you're becoming more familiar with the people there, and they're becoming more familiar with you, and it's almost like inevitable that people are going to talk to you, and you're going to talk to people back, and things are just going to evolve from there. You're in a good place because you like it more and more. You can talk about how you're crap at it, and whatever. Yeah, that's in my experience also the easiest way to find friends, and from there, friendships just form. Hey, let's go for lunch. Hey, we've got this party. You're invited. Do you want to come? Let's meet for coffee. Whatever. Yeah.
And if I move to a new place, which I've done, I've lived in 13 countries. Once I do that, I say to the people there on the first night or the second night, I go, I'm new in town. If there's anything going on, I'd really appreciate you giving me a call. And now we've got Facebook. That stuff's so easy to do. There's a group of everything in almost every city, right. And it may feel scary and risky, but check in and think, how much scarier can it be than staying in this perpetual state of anxiety and trauma and whatever the word is, staying in this perpetual state of disconnection. It can't be worse. One thing that always comes back to me, I read it on a fridge at a party when I was really drunk, and I was like, wow, that's profound. And it said, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. And it's like, at some point, you mentioned on it before, your darkness is what drives you to the light. At some point, you just realise, I can't go on like this. Yeah. And that is the breakthrough point. Right. Actually, for me, it's the time when I look back and I'm like, that's when I took control of my life. And at the time, it was like when I felt like, oh my God, this is the breakdown moment. And that's like, so many of the people that become my teachers, when I speak to them, either people I've met personally who are my teachers or I look up to as a teacher, talk about that same epiphany moment where life was just on its arse. And that's, you hit rock bottom, but once you hit rock bottom, you can build up from there properly. And if you don't get down to the surface, you're always going to build your stuff on some rocky foundations. And that was my life for a long time, until I finally gone, okay, I need to put all my attention on this, because why do I earn money to make me happy? Well, I've got some money and I'm not happy. So why don't I forget about focusing on money and just focus on what makes me happy? And then I started to look at how to deconstruct my belief systems. And I think the fact that you're watching this means you're on the right path. And so I'd really encourage you after this to, maybe that first thing I said, sit down and write down, what anxiety, how it feels to you if you're familiar with it. Or the next time it comes up for you, and write down some of your limiting belief systems about yourself, the worst things that you believe about yourself, and write them down, and then write the opposite down. And then already you've been watching the video, you've done those couple of things. Look online, find a group that, if you like playing soccer, if you like knitting or ballroom dancing or whatever it is, look online or look in the local paper or found the council, find a group, join it, and check how it feels, but see the transformation that's made. And if it feels really tough the first time, just give it a chance. Be brave, go back.
It'll get better. Yeah. Meetup.com, couchsurfing.org. We're here in Ubud. This is the name of the place we're staying. They have a community, Ubud community. If you go to a different city, they have a community, and you can find that on Facebook. Hash House Harriers, for running, right? Running and having a drink. It's a good time, man. There are so many things. If you just go online and you find it, and then you go and it's going to be uncomfortable. Use the techniques to manage it. Take that first step.
So just in this present moment, realize that this is the point you're going to look back on and think, wow, okay, I took control of my life then. And whatever that journey looks like for you, it's going to look different to mine, and it's going to look different to Sebastian's. But the one thing that it is going to be similar to, it's going to feel great, and it's going to allow you to reclaim your life and reconnect with the dreams that you had from a kid, and write a bucket list. Write things that you definitely want to do before you die, and just stick them up on your wall. And they may feel far away now, but I went through my bucket list. I had to write a second bucket list.
Amen. I don't know if you actually have a website or something like that, if people are interested, or if you even have time, but is there something you can share?
Personally, not yet. I've been getting around to it for ages, but I'm just so busy anyway. It's, you've definitely got your website. I'm listed on a number of websites. I'd say a really good one for you to start with, because it's just 4 letters, is bbtr.com, and that stands for Dynamic Breath and Trauma Release.com. And I'm on there as a practitioner, and that will show you where breathwork groups are in your city or whatever you are around the world. Right. They'll show you a practitioner near you.
Cyrus, Iran.
Cyrus, C-Y-R-U-S, Cyrus, Irani, Iran with an I on the end. Okay. It's been a pleasure, Sebastian.
Wicked. Nice. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this. I actually have a little package put together for people just like you. If you're suffering from social anxiety and you have put these limiting beliefs on the table and now you're aware of it, you want to actually start doing something with it, right? And so I have a social anxiety starter kit where I guide you through a whole bunch of tapping videos. So I actually teach you the technique. This is free. And I teach you the technique. I give you an ebook as well where I share my story, how I overcame my social anxiety, what didn't work for me, what did work, how you can get to a place where you're actually free of it and where you're just free in the moment, comfortably being yourself. And so you learn the technique. I guide you through an experience of it. I know it sounds weird, but you'll get an experience of it. And you'll learn how you can overcome your social anxiety and feel calm and at ease in social situations. And you can get that at social-anxiety-social-anxiety-starter-kit. Or you can just go to socialanxietysolutions.com. All right, hope you enjoyed this. Hope this was helpful. And talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.